Okay, so today I have a video that is a pin that's been really popular in the stationery community, been kind of hard to get, but it's actually not a fountain pen. So as you can see, I was able to order this from Yoseka. It was on their notification list for when it came out. And what it is the Uniball Zento, which is the metal body rollerball that has come out and has been really popular. So before I get into that, let's see what Yoseka had in the package here. Nice little washi. Has a Yoseka sticker, which will be nice. Then a little card. Says, Derek, enjoy your pen, and just talks about Yoseka. Kind of shows pictures of the storefront and the staff and things like that. So that's really cool. But let's get into opening up the actual pen. And then what I'm going to do is do some writing samples with this pen and then some other rollerballs and ballpoints that would be similar to get a good comparison point. So let's get this here with the perforated packaging here. And it's just fighting me a little bit. So let me grab something to get underneath there. And so, as you can see, a traveler's clip can be handy for other things. If I can get it out of there. Well, I ripped the package a little, but that's what happens. So that little paper part comes off the outer edge. And then you've got this opens up like this. It's kind of cool packaging, a nice presentation. Then it clips off. So we can get all that put off to the side. So let's look at the pen. You can see it's a pretty small pen body, and it's a pull cap. And as with new rollerballs, it does have a little cap on the end that you'd need to remove if you're not familiar with those. Just want to mention that in case you haven't come across that or you're not using many rollerballs. You can see it has a magnetic cap that kind of clips on. So you post it when you write. It's a pretty comfortable pen just from initial feeling. So that'll be nice to see, but let's get this cap off here and do a little bit of writing. And then what I'm going to do is off camera, write with some other pens and notate what refills they have in them. And then I'll show all that afterwards. So there's a good comparison point. So let me go in and get this little tip removed from here. And the paper I'm going to be using today is a Kikuyo soft ring book with the dot grid pattern. So this is the Uniball Zento Signature. And that is one thing, if you're new to the Uniball pens, there's multiple different Zento models. So this one is the Signature that has the metal body, just in case you're looking for this one. And this one is in a 0.5 millimeter tip. And I believe there's also a 0.7, but it comes in a silver finish versus this darker blackened finish. So a nice rollerball, nice thin line, as you'd expect. So it writes well. Keeps up with a signature. So I think this will be a nice pin to have around, and nice presentation. And if you're someone who fidgets with pins, like I tend to do at times, that magnetic cap is going to be, great for fidgeting with. So let me get some writing done with these other pins that I have, and I'll be back and talk through the comparisons and just kind of show up close what this line looks like compared to some known ballpoints, rollerballs, and other refills. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, so here we have the list of pins that are available. Starting at the top, we have, of course, the Zento Signature. Then we have the OHTO CR01 rollerball, and it has an OHTO ceramic 0.5 millimeter black refill. Got a Retro 51 Stealth, and in this I have a Schmidt P8126 black refill. Got the OHTO TI EDC, and this is one that's an interesting pen. It can fit over 750 different types of refills, but what I have in there right now is a Schmidt 5285 extra fine Parker style in blue. Next, we have the Spoke Design CX. And in this, I have actually the same refill, the Schmidt 5285 EF needlepoint, but this is the Pilot G2 style in blue. Next, I have a Spoke Click Model C with the Monteverde P11 extra fine blue refill. And I think that might be a blue black. It wasn't labeled, but looking at the writing, I think it's probably a blue black refill. Next is the original the original OHTO TI. And in this, I have the Schmidt P900 medium ballpoint in black. Got the Antique ballpoint pen, which uses the 0.5 millimeter black refill. I've got a Lamy, which one is this? The Logo. And in this, I have the M17 extra fine refill, which is the new refills coming from Japan now that Uni has bought Lamy. Next, I have the Pilot 4-in-1 wood, and this has the acro ink in it in the 0.5 millimeter, and I just did the black for the writing comparison. Next, I have the Uni 4-in-1 pure malt edition with the 0.5 millimeter black refill, just doing the black for that one. Next, I have the Penco drafting ballpoint, which is a 0.5 millimeter black needlepoint. And then finally, the Uni Jetstream Edge in the navy color, and this is the 0.28 millimeter in black. So that's the pins and the different refills. Now, most of these, well, a good portion of these have aftermarket refills that I've picked up either at the Gentleman Station or at Vaness. I like to customize what ink I have in the pins to make them write how I'd like them to perform. But let's get this writing sample, and this side camera is not going to do well. So let me hold it up here, and I should be able to zoom in on this to get it pretty close. So you can see of the different writing, the top, the top 5 lines are different rollerball variations, and they've all got a very similar line. I think the Zento is, even though it's a 0.5 millimeter, it's slightly smaller with a thinner line. Let me try over here again. Now this is going to be upside down. I might be able to flip this around. If not, it'll still show the line variation. The top line and the the first line and the second line here, you can see that the Uniball Zento is slightly slimmer of a line than the OHTO, how it goes down, and then also slimmer than the Retro 51 that has that Schmidt P8126 in it. And then I think I would consider it similar line width to the extra fine, the needle points in the blue that I have in the next 2 pins. And then we get into ballpoints, which is not the best comparison because this is rollerball to ballpoint, but these are all pins that are probably similar use case. And if you like one, there's a good chance you're going to like the others or the different type of refills. And that's one thing that, because pins are so easy to change out the refills or get refills, you're not stuck with what comes in it. Now, I believe that the refill for the Zento is not yet easily available because the pin is hard to get as it is. So eventually you'll be able to get more refills to, load this back up if you've written down through it. But for these other pins, I think you can get aftermarket refills for just about all of these, just to make it be one that writes like you prefer. The refills that come in the by stock in the Retro 51, they write too wide for my writing. So that's the first thing I did. I actually ordered the refill when I ordered the pen. And that's one reason why this OHTO is so intriguing to me, is that you open the back, you loosen the front, and then you can take out, so you can see this is a G2 style. If I wanted to take the refill out of this Zento and use it in this pen, I can just put it in there. You can see, and let me hold this over here, coming through the front, you screw the back in until the front part comes out as far as you'd like it to be. And then you just tighten down this front part. And now I have a Zento OHTO TI that I can use. So that's a very nice option for if you're going between different refills, or if you want to try different refills and you like the function or look of a certain pen. You know, you can look at the other options to change it out. And then, you know, you either write this one down or you decide, you know what, I want a longer pen. You can take it out, throw in a different refill, and be good to go. And I just noticed here as I was doing this, in this writing, it is, I guess 2 of these pens have the same exact refill because it's not the Parker style. Thought I had a Parker style in this one, but both of these are actually the Pilot G2 style. I'll change that on there because I do like that thin refill, and this is what I keep in my Bible size plotter. And this is one that's one of my desk pens. And I think with this magnetic cap on this Zento, there's a very good chance that if it fits in the loop on the plotter, it might become the go-to there, because the ease of pulling the cap and writing and then putting it back in, that's very handy in a planner. And I think that would be a good fit. So if nothing else, this is going to be heavily used because I can tell I'm going to love fidgeting with that magnetic cap. That's one of the reasons why I love my Diplomat Viper. So, you know, I was glad to get one of these from Yoseka. They're still, you know, mostly out of stock or selling out as soon as places get them available. So leave me a comment. Do you have one of these yet? Are you seeking one out, or are you not really that much of a rollerball user, especially rollerballs that have good viscosity? And that's one thing, you know, you can see with all of these pens, and I'll just pull it out of this notebook here to make it a little bit easier to show. None of these showed through the paper. You can see that there. Even with the colored blocks, there's only the slightest little mention on one corner where it looks like it's coming through the paper at all. So that makes them really useful for writing in a variety of circumstances. So keep that in mind. You know, don't immediately rule out using a rollerball thinking it's going to bleed through the paper or show through, because as you can see here, that's not going to be the case. And if so, you could potentially find a different refill that won't bleed through, that'll still let you use a pen and a style and design that you like. So be sure and leave me a comment. Let me know if you have a Zento, or if you have any other of these pens, or any questions about any of these, especially like the OHTO. If you'd like to see a separate video on that where I can hot swap in different refills, or the spoke pens, or the Antique, you know, leave me a message and I'll be glad to answer comments and potentially make other videos in the future featuring some more of these pens. So I'll leave it at that for now. So I wanted to thank you again for watching and subscribing and following along on the channel, and I'll see you on the next video.